Hello, good evening.
Voila! Look at that! What
Good
an
evening.
elegant
Hi.
lady!
So
Good
nice to
evening,
meet you.
Gabriella. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you had read Gabriella's profile. I am personally very excited to have this amazing lady here. Gabriella Kanyok isn't only an etiquette and communications expert, but she is also a diplomatic protocols expert. Can you beat that? And she's had over 15 years experience serving government officials, working with international organizations. And look at us here this evening, having her to share with us from her wealth of experience the importance of diplomacy in the workplace. She's joining us this evening from Budapest.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, welcome, Gabriella. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I'm so excited. Actually, it's been a while. I couldn't do any, but now here we are. I was particularly excited about the topic because, as you might know, or people have read my LinkedIn profile or my biography, I'm working for an international organization, and we are working with different continents. So it means like different cultures. So we always have to be aware of what we are work with in these terms. So it's diplomacy at the workplace. It's a highly important topic. And I know that there are many experts out there talking about this topic these days. So I'm very excited to share my knowledge on this. So thank you for inviting me.
You're much welcome. And I'm very delighted that we're going to be talking about this because I have had experiences with people when we have discussed the topic diplomacy, and people have different opinions on what diplomacy is and whether it is something that should be practiced or not. So, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Okay, to everyone out there, this live is going to be as short as possible. We don't want to keep you for a long time, so I'm just going straight to the point. I have a couple of questions to ask Gabriella, and she will just respond to the questions. But if you have questions of your own as the conversation is going, just do well to drop it as a comment, and we will definitely take it. Okay, Gabriella. So, how would you define diplomacy to a 6-year-old?
If I want to be very short, I would say that diplomacy is the art and the practice of building and maintaining relationships, and also conducting negotiations with people using tact and mutual respect. And this is how we arrive to etiquette. If we talk about mutual respect, then I guess your next question would be, what is it?
Yeah, so okay, I was just going to ask, the next question was going to be the relationship between etiquette and diplomacy, but you've answered all in one.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I must add to this that sometimes they see etiquette is like an old-fashioned way of, like how to use the fork and knife. But I have now the chance again to mention that it's far more than that. It's actually a guideline, and in this way, if we practice proper etiquette, we will less likely to offend anybody, but even charm them. So it's a good habit to practice etiquette and follow etiquette experts online because they are sharing always useful tips.
And I must confess, you've charmed me for a while now on your Instagram. Okay. So the next question I'll have for you is, oh, why is diplomacy so important? Because in the work environment, it is something that it's something that comes up, especially in, in the corporate world, in business situations, amongst diplomats or in diplomatic situations. But why is it so important? Why is it something that we need to pay attention to, especially in this very fast-paced 21st century?
In my opinion, it's because the essential of diplomacy is also about like clear communication. And if you practice diplomacy at the workplace, you would be better communicating. So you can get your message across easier. You can build a stronger relationship because people will trust you. You can actually use emotional intelligence to get good relationships with your colleagues. And then it's better to work in a place where actually everybody likes each other, than the opposite. So with these soft skills, because if we talk about diplomacy, the diplomatic skills are actually soft skills, and they are very, very powerful. And if you use them in the right way, then you can enhance your career. You can, it doesn't matter whether you are a junior or you are in senior leadership, because if you're junior, this will help you climb the ladder faster, because you will have those skills that are essential to become a manager or to become a leader. And if you're a leader, then you will be more empowered, so you can make actually better deals. But these are just some highlights I would highlight.
Awesome. That's really fantastic. And I love everything you've said there, especially the fact that you've also highlighted that diplomacy is important even for both the people in the junior rank or cadre in the corporate sector or in the work environment, and also for the superiors. It's not something that only maybe junior officials need to be mindful about, or only the senior officials. It's a soft skill which can actually help you to very quickly climb the ladder of success, which is actually what everyone who's working is working towards. So thank you for sharing that.
It just, sorry?
Go on, please.
No, it's just an additional thing that what you said is like everybody wants to be just more effective in what we are doing in a daily basis. And if we are using these skills, then we become more persuasive towards what we want to achieve. So I think it's highly important.
Lovely. So you did say that diplomacy is actually soft skills, and that is what we teach in etiquette, and even in emotional intelligence, how to regulate your emotions and, better handle situations. So how can someone become more diplomatic, especially in the work environment?
As I already mentioned, one of the key factors is communication. And with communication, I will be very simply saying it. Like, the first is that you think before you speak. I know it's very easy to say, but we tend to be, when we are in a heated argument, for instance, we just don't think it through, and we just respond right away. Even we are not considering how the other person would feel. So if we can practice this, just consciously thinking through what we want to say, then we will actually it's very simple, and it's crazy, but it will come across and will influence what we are saying. So in this way, if we develop this habit, it will be very natural. We can be very naturally speaking, and the other person will appreciate that. So communication is the key, but it's also, there's another way. So it's not just like we are thinking about, okay, we are thinking it's true, but the other way is like, if we don't want to offend others, then we should learn about them quickly and learn about their communication style. For instance, like this is what we call the active listening and observing. Like in a workplace, the first thing, like you observe everybody. You need to get to the point when you can realize very quickly, just an example, like what gets them excited, what is the situation when they become hesitant, what gets them angry. And then you just put yourself in their shoes. And this is also a little bit when etiquette comes in, you know, like considering others. And then you just need to think about their wants, their needs, their dreams, their passion, their love, whatever. And once you arrive to that stage, it will be very easy to know how to approach a person or how to respond gracefully. And this is about like being diplomatic. And some might ask like, okay, but what if I don't know them? Then how should I know? And I can give you a very good tip that always helped me. And then until you don't know the person, you stay neutral, the best way. You just actively listening, and then you don't say anything negative. You just keep yourself neutral, and that always works. So communication is vital. It's very important. Also, again, I want to express it that it's not just knowing the others, but we also need to recognize our own emotions. We need to know how we are expressing our emotions. And once when we know that, we know how we shouldn't react in certain situations. So if, for instance, someone hurts you or someone says something hurtful, you just don't respond with the tone that you could offend the other people or give them hard time. You are just using a calm, neutral tone and a neutral voice, and then you can find a mutual agreement or common ground, or you can just express them the feeling that, okay, very assertively, just telling them that it was very hurtful. So this is again something that we need to improve ourselves, and we need to always think about like how we are handling our own emotions. But once when we arrive to that stage, it will be very smooth and very easy, and you can make great connections and you can build relationships like this, and it's very, very easy. And there's like some other certain ways. I just don't want to get into details. I just want to highlight the best one, because of course a diplomat has to be an analytical thinker, a problem solver, very important, again, problem solving abilities, conflict resolution. Like you also need to know the environment. You need to know, and again, we arrive back to stage one, the communication. You need to know your colleagues, your peers, your business partner. So then you will know how to resolve a conflict. You need to have these analytical skills to analyze the situation, and then the conflict resolution. I know it can be very challenging, diplomatically handling any conflicts at the workplace, but with a little practice, it will come naturally. And again, you just use empathy and emotional intelligence, and this way you will connect to people, and then you just need to see their perspective all the time. Business partners, not just colleagues, like anybody, associates you are working with. And then you need to build trust. So they need to know that they can turn to you, because of course you are not, raising your voice. You are there, again, active listening, that people, you And I just wanted to give an example to the active listening, because that would be interesting for the others who are following this online. How can you practice active listening in a group? Because in one-on-one, it's very easy. You just sit down and you listen what the other person is saying, and then you are processing that information. You are not just sitting there, you know, with your empty thoughts like, okay, what I'm going to have for lunch. But you really want to understand what the other person is going through. In a group, if you want to practice active listening, if there's a project, take the approach of you being the one who is actively listening and taking notes. Get everybody's ideas, sit down with them afterwards, ask a lot of questions, and in this way, you will get to know and you can build trust, and they can build trust on you. I think that's the best advice I could give with active listening in a group. I've learned this and I've tried it, and it really works. And people value, especially when you are a leader or a top manager somewhere, you are taking a step back and you just listen what the others want to say. And just be yourself, and with your intentions, and be honest with people.
Thank you so much. That was a handful. So many tips you
I
have
know
shared.
a lot of things. A lot of things. I know.
Yeah. Yes. So, what really resonated with me is the fact that so much emotional intelligence is required for a person to say, yes, I am a diplomat. For you to really be diplomatic in your communication, in your approach, so much emotional intelligence is required. But then also the communication aspect of it. It's an art on its own. Communication, being able to know the right words to use in certain situations, not to further aggravate, a person who is already in an emotional fit. That is another thing, just when it comes to communication. Active listening is one thing, but even the vocabulary, how to grow your vocabulary and articulate your words effectively in certain situations. Like Winston Churchill said, I made a post of it this morning, that diplomacy is the art of telling a person to go to hell, and in such a way that they'll ask you to show them the way, or they'll ask you for the directions. That is actually an art. So how would you advise someone to improve on their communication skill? Now I'm talking about the speaking aspect of it, the articulation of words. How can one improve? Because not everyone is naturally gifted to be very articulate in the way that they use words when they're communicating.
Very good question. And I just wanted to comment on also when you are communicating with like different cultures, and that's when the story gets interesting, and especially in diplomacy, you need to be always aware of the cultural differences. So it's not enough to know, especially if you're working for an international company or an international organization, you need to know what the others, your constituency or the stakeholders, where they are coming from, because then you need to also adapt your style and your communication to the culture of the person. Like, for instance, I know that the Brits are polite but not that direct, and Namibians, for instance, they are nice but they are super introverted, and it can be like a kind of roller coaster sometimes to try to navigate between all those actors you have to work with. So I just wanted to mention this as a side note, that on top of it, you always need to check, observe, or learn about the other culture you're working with. Communication, yes, it's a completely separate topic, but also the verbal and non-verbal cues. Again, here, I haven't mentioned that, but it's important that it's always neutral to positive, never negative. And thankfully, on the internet, there are so many trainings available. If someone wants to improve their communication skills, I highly recommend to go to the internet, because there are like so many good coaches. They're offering free YouTube tutorials or free classes that you can just take part of it. And if you just start slowly improving, like start with the active listening, and then you just take a course. And I just wanted to mention that it's really funny, but according to a survey, the best diplomats are the introverts, not the extroverts, which I find it like super interesting. So in this sense, the Namibians are like super diplomats. But this is just a side note that words are equally important, of course, when you're expressing yourself. And I highly recommend to take any of the free courses. We could also share a few. I can send, and we could share it with the audience. I have a few coaches I know that I can highly recommend.
Thank you. I would really absolutely love your recommendation, because, you know, I have been following you and paying attention to you for quite some time. And like I said, it's been an honor to have you, because you speak to excellence, okay? Yeah, you speak to excellence, and I don't think there would have been a better person to handle this. So yes, we will take your recommendation on communication. But do you offer courses?
On communication, no, but I might think about it now. No.
Okay, you should.
But I can share. I also have like a small briefing paper on this today's topic I prepared. So I'm also happy to share it with everybody who wants to read a little bit more about diplomacy at the workplace. When I was preparing, I prepared like a very brief paper. I think it would be helpful for your audience. And
thank you very much.
And yeah, I think we have touched really everything we wanted this evening, but let me know if there's any questions.
Okay, so at this point, audience, if anyone has any question, please just drop it as a comment, and we will take it, because we will soon be rounding up. Now, Gabriella, someone once said to me, and I quote, "Diplomacy are all lies. I mean, why don't you just say things as they are? Why sugarcoat?" What would you say to that person? Just help me respond to them, because I'm sure they'll see this video.
Well, so if we think about mutual respect and using tech, just think it through. What would happen if, let's take it like state level, if everybody mentions what they think? It wouldn't work this way. You need to find, they are still saying what they think, but they are making it to be mutually acceptable for everybody around the table. You can't just go and bang the table. You need to show respect to the others. And sometimes this requires that you need to sugarcoat. I don't like this word, because it's not really sugarcoating. It's choosing your words wisely, taking into consideration the other people's feelings, or the other people's political positions, or the other people's positions in general, because it's not just, diplomacy is not just in policy. It can be in sports level, it can be in many areas, at workplace, even, you know, at the McDonald's, it could be, we could talk about diplomacy at the workplace. So this could be my answer, that you need to respect other people's feelings.
Thank you very much. There's a question now from the audience, and the good Chi is asking, where do you draw the line between being diplomatic and people pleasing? I think that's a great question.
Very good question. Very good question. It would be a little bit more like people pleasing, in the sense that, in which sense, like being diplomatic. Now we are talking about a colleague, let's say, like being diplomatic to a colleague. I think there is like a clear line, because if you talk about communication, it's respecting the other person, but at the same time you are not really pleasing them, or because you don't need to, you know, like say nice compliments if these compliments are not genuine. Because this is again another thing, like you have to be genuine in your actions, and if you have to lie to please anyone, then you are not diplomatic anymore. I know if tell me if this answers your question.
Okay, I mean it answers the question to me, but then we're going to expect the person who asked the question to, if she's still there, to let us know if her question has been properly answered, or, you know, to her satisfaction. You have really emphasized the relationship between diplomacy and being heart-centered, because it's all about, like you repeatedly say, mutual respect, being able to respect other people irrespective of the situation, disagreeing with people without being disagreeable, you know, just to be able to know that, yes, it's okay to have a different opinion from what I have, but we're able to, you know, respect each other's opinions in a situation where we're in a meeting or having a conversation. And I think that is where people get it twisted. When people say things like diplomacy is or it's a lie or anything, they miss out the fact that it's all about being respectful with your words, being respectful, not just your words, but even your actions, because you can be diplomatic in your gestures as well. Okay, she said yes, that her question was answered, and she says thank you. So I think that has really resonated with me, and it's something that I would like our audience to pretty much take back with them. That diplomacy is more about mutual respect in the way that you communicate your views, your opinions, your whatever it is that you're trying to put across, whatever information you're trying to put across when you're having any form of exchange with people. You should always bear in mind that people deserve respect.
Yes.
Whether what they're saying makes sense to you, whether they're sounding smart or not, people deserve respect. And like I like to emphasize as well, respect is reciprocal. It's not something that you ask for, but you command it to yourself based on how you treat people. So your ability to be diplomatic can portray you as a person who is respectful, thereby, you know, deserving of other people's respect. So it has been such an insightful session, and I don't know if there are any other questions coming. I'm not sure there are any other questions coming. Okay, there's a question now. That will probably be the last one, because talking about diplomacy and etiquette, we also have to keep to the time. We said 30 minutes. And if there are any other questions in the future, no problem, you can send them and we'll find a way to respond to them. Now, the question we have here is, how do you deal with your diplomacy not being reciprocated?
It's a very good question, because I always say that it's not about them, it's about you. So whatever you do, you know that your actions are genuine, you know that you have the respect, you you communicate effectively, you communicate assertively, you practice active listening. And if you are not getting this back, you still keep acting the same way, because this is you, this is your reputation, this is your trust building, and there is always somebody else who is watching you. So this is how I would wrap this up.
That's an excellent response. Thank you so much. Dr. Kubi, I hope you got that. You're always representing yourself, irrespective of how others choose to treat you. And people, someone else is always watching. It's not only the person who is being disrespectful to you, but others are watching you to see how you act or react to situations. It's been such an honor, and it's been very insightful, very educative having you. And I'm hopeful that in the near future, you will be back here to further educate us.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone who was following us. And I will share the paper I just mentioned. And thank you again, Lady Ati. It was really a pleasure being here with you this evening.
Thank you so much. And finally, would you like, if anyone wishes to contact you, maybe they would like, further coaching from you or to take a course from you, how would you like them to contact you? How would you like them to reach out to you?
You can find the contact details on my Instagram profile, or I can also write here quickly the website. It is also in English and in Hungarian. But you can always find me on Instagram, and I'm quite responsive.
Okay, so that's her over right there. Her Instagram handle is KG Etiquette, and the website is etiquette.hu. Okay.
Thank
I really don't want this to end, but every beautiful thing that has a beginning has to have an end. So thank you so much, and I will share this. I'm hopeful I'll be able to save. We will be able to save and share this video so that people who couldn't join now can further learn. Can catch up later and see what we enjoyed. Thank you so much for being here, and talk to you soon.
Thank you again, and have a good night.
Good night. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was very beautiful. That was very enlightening. The good Chi says, thank you for an enlightening session. I agree with you. It was quite enlightening. And for those of you who may not be following us, we at Etiquette with Eti Academy, we're having the Art of Fine Dining course coming up very soon. Some people might have already seen it on our page, or maybe not. I encourage you all to think of how you can upscale, think of how you can evolve from mere eating to dining. I encourage you to take up courses with us, because personal refinement has no end. I am constantly looking for resources and avenues to further refine myself, and I don't want to enjoy all the benefits of elegance and refinement alone. So I'm always inviting other people to join me on this journey, which is very fulfilling. So I encourage you all to follow us if you're not already following us at Etiquette with Eti. Take up courses with us, or just reach out to us if you have